50 Years a Heroine of the Seas by Gilson Willett. This is the record of the woman who draws $750 a year from the government, and who, on the night of July 1, 1907, will have watched the light at Lime Rock 18,261 times, completing 50 years of uninterrupted service on one little sea-bound rock. You are greater than a warrior, Miss Lewis, because, while a warrior slays, you save. The speaker was General Ulysses S. Grant, then, in 1869, President of the United States. The person spoken to was Miss Ida Lewis, keeper of the Lime Rock Lighthouse in Newport Harbor. The place was on the rock itself, a wind-swept, water-bound half-acre of stone that reared its top above the waves. Miss Lewis, then only 28, had saved 7 lives, and the silent man of Appomattox had come, with Vice President Colfax, to see her. In getting ashore, the general had got his feet wet, but what mattered it? I have come to see Ida Lewis, he said, and to see her, I'd get wet up to my armpits, if necessary. That was 38 years ago. Grant has been dead 22 years, and the girl he saw on the rock that day has become a gray-haired woman of 66. But gray-haired though she is still on the rock where she has been for 50 years, and the number of lives she has saved has increased to 18. Night after night she keeps the vigil she has kept for over 18,000 nights. Trained by long habit, her mind automatically causes her to awaken every half hour, that she may see if her beacon light to mariners be still burning. And at dawn her vision sweeps the horizon for sign of a shipwrecked craft. As a ship's searchlight circles with colossal stride from one point of the compass to another. Talk about the love of a mother for her child, how great is the love of this woman for her kind. Every sail on the sea within the radius of her activities is to her a source of possible anxiety. The sail may be only that of a lowly fisherman creeping out through the morning fog, or it may be that of a liner speeding with the ambassador of a great power chief among its distinguished passengers. It matters not to Ida Lewis which it may be, she gives it the protection of her watchful guardianship. And all night long this vigil goes on, all night long while the great ships go, while the sleepers sleep, while the wild waves roll. You will notice, said Miss Lewis, that my bed stands so high that I can see the light whenever I open my eyes during the night. I wake up regularly every half hour during the night, just as regularly as a nurse wakens who must give her patient medicine twice an hour. Always at midnight I change the lamps, taking out one and putting in another. On stormy nights I don't sleep at all. And I've occupied this room for 50 years. Going back to the time when she first lit the light, Miss Lewis told how her father was appointed keeper of the station in 1854. My father was officially the keeper for 25 years, she said, but for 17 years of that time he was a hopeless paralytic. I myself attended the light all those years. And besides, for a long time I rowed my sister across the harbor to Newport to school every day. Then, 28 years ago, I was appointed official keeper myself. After my father died, my mother also became a helpless in VA Lid, and I attended both her and the light for 10 years. Now, on the 1st of July, I will have been on duty here, with and without government pay, for half a century, or over 18,250 nights. Then she told of her medals. They were in velvet cases once, she said, but so many persons handled them that the cases long ago wore out. Thousands, not hundreds, of visitors handled those cases. You see, for many seasons the Newport newspapers advertised excursions to this light, boats leave wharf every hour for visit to Ida Lewis. My helpless father's chief occupation was to sit and count the number of visitors. Once he counted over 600 in one day. In those days I shook hands with more people during a summer than did the president at Washington. I used often to have so many callers that I couldn't get my housework done. Hundreds from each state in the Union have been here, including men and women of highest distinction. For example, there was Admiral Dewey. When he was secretary of the Lighthouse Board he came here one day and said, "Miss Lewis, I want to smoke on your half-acre rock for half an hour." General Sherman sat out on the rock for nearly an hour, asking me questions about my life, and saying he was glad to get to such a peaceful place. Yes, there's hardly a great admiral or noted general that hasn't been here to see me. There was one cabinet minister, the Secretary of the Treasury under Grant. He 8. He came purposely to thank me personally for saving the life of a soldier from Fort Adams, because the light was in his department and he was proud to have a woman under him who was not finicky about getting her hair wet. Women? Susan B. Anthony came here and read me a lecture, and I can't yet make out what it was all about. Society women from Newport? Every Mrs. Astor and every Mrs. Vanderbilt and every Mrs. Belmont you ever heard of have called on me with whole boatloads of men and women that all talked at once and treated me as if I were a kind of real queen. She talked of her home. It's only a few 100 square feet of rock, with the lighthouse amidships, affording not more room for exercise than one can get aboard a lightship. It is a mile out from the yacht club station. I've got to paint the whole house inside, this year, said Miss Lewis. That's government work, so I do it myself, just as I always attend to the light my own self. My brother, I let him do the outside work, because I'm getting old. I guess, and I really can't handle a boat like one used to. Hemmed in for days by waves. Gales? Why, sometimes the spray dashes against these windows so thick I can't see out, and F-degree-R days at a time the waves are so high that no boat would dare come near the rock, not even if we were starving. But I'm happy. There's a peace on this rock that you don't get on shore. There are hundreds of boats going in and out of this harbor in summer, and it's part of my happiness to know they are depending on me to guide them safely. Recurring to her medals, she showed one of silver, and very heavy, from the New York Life Saving Association, presented to Ida Lewis as a testimonial of her courage and humanity in rescuing 2 men from drowning in Newport Harbor during a severe storm on 29 March, 1869. And there, said Miss Lewis, pointing to a flag that hung in a frame on the wall, a flag containing a painted picture of the rescue of 1869, there is a silken remembrance brought to me by Jim Fisk, of New York. The flag was painted by a New York lady named Mrs. McFarland.